Oh, good morning. Whoa, good morning, everyone. I've always said, right before a meeting gets started, everybody gets quiet. So you can tell it's time to get down to business. So first of all, I'll do a roll call.
Yes. Charles Smith.
Here.
Richard Helton.
Here.
Katina Wilcher. Here. Anna O'Gean. Here. Tammy Fruling Bogus. Here. Stephen Summers. Geraldo Rosales.
Here.
Jim Goss.
Here.
Diane Marlin. Here. Dennis Roberts. Doug Frank Feynman. Patrick Brown. Will Kiles.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Thank you and welcome, everyone. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
Okay. You got that, Dan?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any audience participation? Okay. There being none, we'll move on to item 4, which is the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the RPC draft meeting minutes from July the 26th of 19?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. All right. And, okay. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item 5, consolidated financial report. Betty?
Sure, so you have the consolidated report as of July 31st. Our fund balance continues to remain healthy at just over 10.6 million, almost 10.7 million. We do have receivables that are a little over 1.1 million. Most of that is for the early childhood fund, which is preschool for all. About 377 of that is preschool for all, and the other is the workforce development, which is about 200,000. But it's not typically unusual. This is a bit of a delay in terms of state reimbursements, and so nothing unusual there.
Very good. Board, do you have any questions of Betty and her report? All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion before you vote? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, next, Betty. Again, list of bills.
Sure, so you have the list of bills for all of our funds, and again, most of this is direct client pass-through for rental assistance, utilities, weatherization, but it is very typical activity for midsummer at the RPC. So, and there's nothing unusual for me to report here.
Okay, very good. Any questions? Board? Okay. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Diane. All right. Any discussion before you vote? All right, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, motion carried. All right. Item 7, point of clarification, this is a preliminary process for the preliminary budget. And the item action is fiscal year 20 RPC budget proposal. Betty,
I'm actually going to present it.
you actually going to do it?
I am.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. We are happy today to present to you the preliminary budget for the Regional Planning Commission for FY 2020. I will go through and highlight some of the key areas of our budget. But before I do so, I think we're very happy to report to you that in the last few months, we have been experiencing some significant growth as an organization. We will be adding to our budget about $7.6 million in new funding. Included in your binder, you will find there's a memo that sort of highlights some of the new program areas that are contributing to this growth of the $7.6 million. Some of which includes some of our energy efficiency initiatives, the expansion which we've reported to you previously for our independent service coordination program into 13 counties, as well as some of our new funding that we've obtained for our transportation and planning area. With that said, in our budget, beginning overall for the entire organization, we're looking at having a full-time equivalency of 352 individuals, with a revenue projected at $32,382,254. So that is the appropriation level that we are seeking. Our agency budget accommodates 5 different funds, and it includes over 100 grants in 8 program areas. The other thing that I also would like to highlight is that with our overall budget, 90% of that are state and federal grants. So we are heavily reliant on grant funding from the federal government as well as from the state of Illinois. We will be increasing our staffing levels by 75 FTEs. And one of the other things we're very proud of here at the RPC is that our administrative costs are less than 7.5% of our agency budget, which is actually below the threshold allowed by the state of Illinois, which is 18%, as well as below the federal government threshold, which is 15%. Moving on to some specific funds, beginning with our general operating fund, we are looking at an appropriation level of $16,288,104. This consists of, we are expecting sustained growth potential in FY 2020. This fund includes all of our regional initiatives, inclusive of the one that I talked about, the Independent Services Coordination. We have our transportation, Human Services Transportation Coordination, which is in about 18 counties, as well as some of our energy efficiency initiatives that we're going to be implementing in FY 2020. The staff level increases are proportionate to our grant funding and what we're planning in terms of our outcomes. And again, highlighting that our administrative expenses are less than 7.5% of the operating budget. Moving on to our early childhood fund, which is Fund 104. We are requesting an appropriation level of $12,224,300. Again, this is inclusive of some of the expansion that we have reported to you previously, particularly with our early Head Start, as well as funding from the Illinois State Board of Education. But the fund includes a combination of both federal and state revenue streams, and this allows us to provide comprehensive full-day child development services to over, I don't like this number, 666 infants and toddlers and their families. This includes expanded center-based programming, which is what most of our families desire based on the needs assessment that we do as part of this program. It will include an additional 131 new enrollments and 14 new classrooms. Again, this is inclusive of our comprehensive 5-year early Head Start expansion grant. Moving on to our workforce fund, which is Fund 110. The appropriation level for this is $2,705,350. It includes the initiative that we were funded by the federal government, the Department of Labor, which is our adult reentry program. It's a 39-month initiative, and that was funded at $1.5 million over that 3-year period. It also includes a grant that was funded to us by the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, which is $293,000, and that is to do a pilot initiative which has been underway for the last few months. We expect that initiative to end sometime next summer. It also reflects the realignment, which we've now included Douglas County as one of the counties that's going to be part of our workforce development areas. And we are actually planning to launch services in that county beginning in September. The deficit fund is due to the timing of federal pass-through funds. Usually the federal government is a little bit delayed in reimbursing the state, and that's why we are showing a deficit fund balance. Moving on to our economic development, which is our loan fund, Fund 475. With this fund, we are looking at revenues of $1,149,000, and this fund accommodates restricted revolving loan portfolio with a proportionate job creation activities as we make loans. This fund allows us to improve economic opportunities or economic conditions, and we are hoping to generate some new loans in FY 2020. The other loan fund we have, Fund 474, is the USDA loan fund. The revenue for that, we're projecting $15,500 with expenditures of $42,000. This is an intermediary revolving loan program funded through the United States Department of Agriculture, and it provides low interest loans primarily to rural areas with populations of less than 25,000 individuals. This includes an estimated disbursement of $200,000 in new loan activity in FY 2020. So with that said, that concludes my presentation of what would be our preliminary budget for FY 2020. We will be coming back to the commissioners in November once we have finalized our compensation plan and present that to you as a final approval. We will be on Tuesday presenting this budget to the county board, and it will also be the same. So with that said, we will entertain any questions from the commissioners.
So just to add perhaps to that, at the beginning of your budget document, you have a list of the chart of accounts and all the existing current grants and contracts that we have. So any contracts or grants that we receive between now and November, when we come back for final approval, we will add to this document. I'd also like to call your attention to Roman numeral 9 at the front of the page, because that indicates what the units of local government, what your portion of this internal document is DeLitzo said 90% of our budget is federal and state grants, and we also have local fee-for-service contracts that are not included. But on this page, it indicates what your contributions are and your impact on this budget. So this includes the QOTS membership, the general membership to the RPC, the police training portion from each of the units of local government, and then the court diversion, which comes from the quarter-cent public safety tax. Just wanted to add that because I know it impacts each of your respective budgets.
Any further discussion? Questions? Jim?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. If you could go back to one of the first couple of slides. Do you have a comfort level, and this is probably more either DeLitzo or Betty, in both cases, those first two funds, your fund balance is less than a month or right at a month's. I mean, you've got a $12 million budget and a $1 million, $1.2 million fund balance. Is there so much grant money that you're not worried about running short on cash flow, I guess is my question.
We're not at this point. In terms of the federal money, we get that money within 24 to 48 hours. The state money is a little bit more difficult. The other thing to remember in this budget is likely higher than what we're actually going to use, but because we have so many grant fiscal years that run within the county's January through December fiscal year, we have to accommodate the possibilities. So our staff here, if they're assigned to a grant program, they have to charge actual time. So we have to be able to accommodate actual time, and that's hard to know now for next October, for instance. So, and our grant years run January, March 1, October 1, July 1. So this budget is created to give us maximum flexibility for those overlapping staff years, labor distribution estimates, and timing of our reimbursements.
Okay, that was my only question. I mean, those fund balances are really tight. I mean, that one I think is 6% of the expenditures. So, if you had a major grant that was slow getting there, I mean, you could run tight on that cash flow. So, thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions or discussions? All right.
I do.
Yes.
I noticed on the FTEs, if you add the numbers together that are in those pages, it's 373. The additional 75, are they included in those numbers?
Yeah, the total agency-wide is 352, and that includes the operating fund, the early childhood fund, and workforce development, which includes people in training. Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
And does that also include health benefits?
Don't know.
You talking about the,
For those the 352 staffers
we provide health benefits to our staff, yes.
and retirement plan as well?
Mhm.
Impressive. And I just wanted to commend your staff for doing a great job. Easier to read, easier to break down the numbers as well as the spread of your budget. So I really enjoyed this notebook you all put together for us. So great job.
Any other questions or discussions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the fiscal year 20 RPC budget, preliminary budget?
So moved.
Second.
In a second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Okay, item B under item 7 is a response to an RFP vendor approval. Who has this? Brandy? Okay.
Good morning. We recently solicited a comprehensive request for proposal from 4 national vendors to provide classroom supplies and small equipment such as tables, place sets, chairs, to set up the classrooms at the new Early Childhood Center. We received 3 formal responses from Discount Supply, Kaplan Early Learning Company, and Lakeshore Learning Materials. Although Kaplan Early Learning Company provided the lowest price proposal, it did not meet all of the RFP requirements. Of critical importance, Kaplan could not guarantee 100% delivery and associated setup of the classroom equipment and supplies within the established time frame for our first phase. And our first phase would be here within, hopefully by October, November time period. That's our first phase, which is our 7 classrooms that are currently in the process of being painted and getting, set up for classroom sessions. The accelerated time frame is in response to the regulatory requirements for licensure and the requirement by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to be fully operational by October 1st, 2019. A delay in the operational start date could place our program at risk of under-enrollment and potentially being placed on our corrective action plan. As a result, we recommend that the Commission accept the higher cost but fully responsive proposal from Lakeshore Learning Materials. This vendor fully satisfied all requirements, including warranties, accelerated delivery and setup, safety certification, custom 3D classroom layouts, and the assurance of no back orders or drop shipments, which can, again, delay the setup of classrooms to meet licensure. Early Head Start expansion grant startup funds are sufficient to fully support the infant toddler price proposals, and state funding will support the preschool proposals as well. Do you have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I guess it's my first question of RPC. And this is just me learning the process more, and as I, over the next month, dive into this really deep. What's our procurement process as it pertains to minority inclusion? Is that a part of our process or part of our metrics?
Always. We are reaching out at any time that we do proposals. We are reaching out within the community, within the state, and also the nation. So with this particular RFP, these are vendors that are nationally known, and there aren't very many of them around. And Katina's shaking her head. It is These are, for the vendors, is pretty much all that we have in this particular area, and can provide those support services.
Okay. I just want to make sure, one of the things that I hold true to is diversity. And I specifically believe that, you know, if it were a private company doing private business with anyone, then you can hire whoever you want. I don't really care, right? It's your money. But when it's taxpayers' money, it's collected indiscriminately. No one says whether you're black, white, pink, or purple. So we should be making sure and telling people that if we're using taxpayer monies, that they reflect the diversity that reflects the taxpayer money that's paying them. So I appreciate that, and I'll probably have a deeper conversation as I learn more about the procurement process.
Great, thank you very much.
You know,
I must be doing something wrong. But I do want to,
There you go.
loud and clearly now, I do want to say relative to educational learning materials, that Lakeshore is a very reputable, long-standing vendor and widely used, and you get what you pay for, and they produce. So their products are quality, and their services are impeccable. So
Thank you, Katina.
absolutely.
I noticed there's 3 vendors here. The discount is the second lowest bid. Why would they not be given the bid?
They also did not meet all of the requirements, and they could not promise to, deliver on time.
Same thing with Kaplan.
Same thing with Kaplan, correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
any further discussion, board? All right. I need a motion to approve the response to the RFP with vendor approval.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Those two.
Those two? Yes, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, board. Item 8 is Head Start, early Head Start. Brandy?
So good morning again. In your packet is the Head Start Management Report for June. And I just wanted to remind you that, we are in the process of getting ready for school, which starts September 3rd. We are currently in the process of training all of our staff. We currently have 6 full training days for staff this year, and is packed full of learning about children with autism, trauma-informed care, also learning about how to take care of themselves. So a lot of self-care strategies and support services for our staff. So we're really excited about that. We also have wanted to share with you that we have an upcoming Family and Community Engagement Resource Fair starting on September 14th at Hessel Park. We have invited several community partners within the area, such as Public Health Department. I believe also, I think Champaign Police Department is going to be there, and also our very own Regional Planning Commission Community Services Division. So we're going to have opportunity for families to learn about all of our services within our community, and also hopefully do some more recruiting of those families and children. So we will be sending out some flyers and posting on our Facebook and momentarily. So it should be this week or next. All right. Thank you.
Hey, can I ask a question,
Yes, sir.
please? Obviously, Head Start's a big deal.
Yes.
And I was looking, just going through, and just more for clarification, understanding. Head Start absence reasons, staying with relatives, 40%. What does that mean? I mean, I think I know what it means.
Yeah, so staying with relatives means that, if a child or a parent is going to work and they prefer that their child stay home, maybe it's because Champaign, Unit 4 closed for a particular in-service day, they're choosing to keep that child home with maybe a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, or even a friend. So that's what that means. And we do get that on occasion, especially in the summer times, around times when some of the school districts close and we're open. If the siblings are home, all of the kids tend to stay home. So that's what that means.
And then age out of the program as far as withdrawal, is that considered withdrawal or
Yeah,
is this
so-
completion?
So it's complicated. With Early Head Start, Early Head Start is for children birth to 3. So once they hit 3 years of age, we're transitioning them either into our preschool program or transitioning them out because maybe they no longer qualify and we've done our job, right? And that's what we hope for everyone. But sometimes we still have families that stay with us all the way until they're 5. They still need our support. So once they end that grant, that Early Head Start grant year or grant period, that is withdrawal. And then we do a transition into Head Start programming. Also, children who are turning 5 or who are already 5 and going to kindergarten, they age out of the program. So they're no longer eligible. Okay. Good questions. Hi.
Just curious, if a child starts in the Head Start 0 to 3, do they typically transition into the next phase, 3 to 5, or do they go to like Urbana Early Childhood?
They tend to go into our 3 to 5, but we also have children who have disabilities and need extra support, and they will get dual surface placement.
With Urbana Early Childhood?
That is correct. Or with Champaign Unit 4.
Depending on where they...
Depends on where they reside.
I'm just concerned about kindergarten readiness. We've been hearing a lot about that this week, and the fact that so many children are not prepared. So,
Well, and I think that's something that we all need to be really cautious about. When we hear that, we need to make sure that a lot of our kids that we've had this last even 2 to 3 years, they're new kids and never been in a child care or an educational program before. And we're talking 4 and 5-year-olds. And that was really, I think, enlightening for many of us in this community. A lot of them are coming from outside of the state or coming from Chicago or up from St. Louis, and they have not been in an educational program before. So it takes a lot to get those kids ready to go if they've never been anywhere.
which makes these programs even more important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree with Mayor Marlin, Commissioner Marlin. I think that ultimately, seeing this program and seeing the success of it, obviously more people want to get engaged in it. I obviously know that with engagement comes money. How difficult is it to attract even more money than we already have allocated for this? How competitive is it?
I think we've been doing very well. I think our data, is very good,
Yes.
and I think that's what brings funding to us. Also, we provide a variety of options for our families. Head Start programs are very similar across the nation in regards to regulation. But when it comes to a community, we base our programming around our community. Danville bases it around their community. So we really look at what do families need, and within this community, a lot of families need to be working or going to school or both. And that's what we've done. We've created opportunities for families to have 6-hour programming and 10-hour programming. Whether that's with 6-hour programming, they don't have to sign up for Child Care Resource Service. They don't have to go through some extra hoops. But there are a variety of different options. Even for families in the rural community, we offer home-based visiting services. So families who don't have transportation. So that really does attract, it really does attract, I think, our funders to look at us and what we are doing. And we're very collaborative We have many community partners here within Champaign County. We also collaborate with Courage Connection and providing that support to women who are facing domestic violence as well as their children and homelessness. So I think we're doing a very good job of capturing the needs of our community and then projecting that into our grants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All right. Do we have a motion to accept and place on file the Head Start, Early Head Start Management Report, including financial and service area report for July of 19?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion before you vote? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Board. Item 9 is a program division updates, and Betty, we'll start with you.
Sure. So, consistent with the budget process, we're going to begin working on formal staff performance reviews this fall. That ties in with our fully merit-based compensation system. So, given the number of staff that we have, that's an arduous task. And then we're going to develop our plan for health insurance benefits and how much. We'll take that back to the board for approval in October and November. We're also going to begin negotiating with AFSCME, with our bargaining unit staff and Head Start, and that'll happen at the end of September. That contract expires on March the 1st, so we need to prepare and begin negotiating with the union. We're going to have a program-specific audit for our police training program in early September. We've scheduled all staff training at ILEAS for non-escalation, de-escalation. Our staff have situations with clients, parents, families, coworkers, and we think that this training would be beneficial on an all-staff basis, so we look forward to that. Dr. Schlosser will be performing that and executing that training for us. We continue, as Brandy mentioned, preparing all of our new sites for full operations by mid-October, and that includes the Early Childhood Center in West Champaign, as well as our new site, which is located in Tuscola for our workforce development, 401 South Main in Tuscola. So we're busy getting ready for full operations this fall.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Any questions, anyone? Any discussion?
I do have a question.
All right.
Who did you say will be facilitating?
Dr. Schlosser from PTI.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Rita, I think you're next. Or did I miss? Oh, Lisa, I'm sorry. I skipped right over you.
Is this on? It is on? Good morning.
Good morning.
No offense at all. You could have skipped right over me. You've heard that we have been working on our expansions from 3 counties to 13 counties with our ISC program. I just wanted to say that has been going very smoothly. You can imagine there would be bumps, and there are some, but we've been receiving significant positive feedback from our state funders, from our parents, from our staff. So I think that is wonderful. We are underway right now preparing our federal homeless program grant applications. We currently receive about $500,000, and we are probably going to be expanding to about another $200,000 that will add to that most likely. Our housing advocacy program, which is a DCFS contract, we've seen the referrals to that program probably double in the last month. So we're quite busy in that way. We have, as of July 1st, started a county-wide rent assistance program. We're doing that in collaboration with the Cunningham Township and the city of Champaign Township. And so it's been an undertaking, and we're all learning from one another, but we believe it's a positive service across the county to do it collaboratively. And then I wanted to also provide an update regarding our safety lighting energy efficiency program that we began in the Garden Hills community. We have finished the first phase of that program. We were reaching out to over 1,200 homes, and we did indeed engage. Well, essentially we touched 1,206 homes and distributed 261 energy efficiency kits, provided 424 applications to the households to apply for the next round of services, which will be a collaboration with both the City of Champaign, where they will do some safety and primarily safety and lighting and some other work that they'll do with the households, and then we will do some energy efficiency. We are currently reviewing those applications and going to be communicating with the households. We've received 60 applications right now. So that's an overview of just a few of the things that are going on in my division. I can field any questions about this or anything else that you're aware of and have questions about.
Any questions, board? Then we'll move on to Rita.
Good morning, everyone. Staff have been busy this last month working on the census. We created a complete count committee as requested by the U.S. Census Bureau, where we have representation from all the different RPC agencies, as well as representation from several other community agencies. We actually had a training for that group on July 30th. 3 staff members from the U.S. Census Bureau came down from Chicago and provided 3-hour training for all the people attending regarding hard-to-count population. Also, after that training, the Department of Human Services released an offer for conducting outreach to hard-to-count population for the whole state. For that NOFA, they divided the state into several regions, and Champaign County is part of the Northeast region that is composed of 6 different counties. They are Champaign, Vermilion, Douglas, Fort Iroquois, and Piatt, which are the same 6 counties that are under the WIOA region. Then initially we were planning on being the regional intermediary for that grant. The idea of the grant is that you have one agency coordinating all the efforts for all the different counties at the same time, working with different members of the community and different organizations to reach hard-to-count population. But after some conversations with several agencies, we also learned that the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District was interested in being the regional intermediary for the region. We had a meeting with them yesterday, and we decided that they will be the ones submitting the application to be the regional intermediary, and then RPC will be submitting an application under their application to be a sub-grantee for that grant just to work in Champaign County. And the reason for that is that they have already done some contacts with the different public health districts in the other counties. And they have in the past done this kind of activities for outbreaks that happen at the health level. Then they are willing to take that approach, and then we decided just to concentrate in Champaign County and work with the clients on their community services and Head Start as our main targets for hard-to-count population. Then we'll be in the process of preparing our sub-grantee application to submit it with the Public Health Department application. Aside from that, we are also planning, even if we don't get the funding, because we have in our RPC budget, to conduct a lot of outreach in Champaign County regarding the census. Then we'll be working with Rantoul and the different communities to reach out to hard-to-count populations. We have also been really busy using the funding from our innovation grant for WIOA on reaching out to businesses in the 6 counties under the WIOA program. We have been conducting business surveys and business visits in all those different counties as part of the innovation funding that we received to develop a local and a regional plan for workforce development for our region. Then our intention is to collect at least 100 business surveys throughout the whole region, and then with that, analyze the data and proceed to have business roundtables to learn more about the needs and the gaps in the workforce on those 5 different counties, to include that as part of the development of our plan. In terms of transportation, we'll be attending several conferences. We submitted abstracts to the IDOT Fall Planning Conference and to the Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations Conference. Abstracts were approved, and staff will be presenting different projects at those different counties, those different conferences. Also, Jeff Blue, who is the Champaign County Highway Engineer, and myself received an invitation from the Federal Highway Office in Washington, D.C. to present at one safety peer exchange that will be happening, I believe, in late October, regarding safety and how the county and the MPO work together to address safety in Champaign County, and present the plan, the safety plan that we have developed for Champaign County. Lastly, we have been working really hard on with AMREN. AMREN is the agency providing part of the funding for the Garden Hills Initiative. Collecting all the data, they hired us to develop the database for the entire state for all the initiative regarding Market Development Initiative is the name of this initiative that they have regarding all the efforts that they are making throughout the state in terms of saving, energy savings and all that. Then we have been very busy collecting the data for them, analyzing the data and creating a database and a data portal that they can use to track the initiative for each of those different community-based organizations. And as far as I know, they are very pleased, according to the lecture, with the work that we are doing on that regard. One more thing is probably the county board members don't know yet, but we received funding from IDOT to do the first Champaign County Transportation Plan. We already had the first steering committee meeting. The members of the steering committee meeting are 2 township commissioners, Jeff Blue and John Hall. The idea of the phase 1 of the Champaign County Transportation Plan is, because it's small funding, it's only $40,000, is to do all the inventory of the existing conditions of our transportation infrastructure in Champaign County. And our intention is also to do it at the level of townships, that way the townships will know, the township commissioners will know the conditions of their township in terms of transportation, regarding safety, regarding infrastructure and all that, and that will help them on applying for funding, perhaps through IDOT, to solve the problems that they have. Then we just started that process and probably will be coming to the county board sometime soon.
Couple of questions. On the transportation plan, is that transportation infrastructure outside the municipalities?
Yes, it's rural Champaign County.
I just wanted to say we are doing a pavement assessment, pavement condition assessment citywide in the city of Urbana, so that data will be available too, if you wanted to add to it. My question, other question is related to the census. I met with Mr. Choi this week. One of the hard to count populations apparently are considered to be university students.
Yes.
And considering that almost half our population in Urbana are students, we are going to be focusing a lot of attention on that.
Mhm.
And a couple of things that were concerning is that when the postcards that are being mailed out by the census are going to arrive in mailboxes exactly during spring break next spring. So students, faculty, staff, many will be out of town, and then they're due back within a week or so after that. And then the months that they've allowed for follow-up for the people they've missed are, I think, from April through August,
Mhm.
which after May, our students are gone.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be sending a letter to the regional census folks in Chicago requesting that they do the follow-up between April and May 1st, so that we catch the students before they leave town.
Mhm.
And communities with fair number of students in their population might want to send a letter requesting the same as well. And then I understand they will make efforts to reach out to students in dormitories actually in February, so
Mhm.
they'll get a head start on that. But just the timing of this census couldn't be worse in terms of our
Yes.
spring break and university classroom schedule.
We expressed the same concerns to them
Okay.
regarding that.
Yeah, I think the more people they hear from,
Yeah, we met with him too, and we expressed the same concerns.
great, okay.
Well, the gentleman made his rounds because he's seen me also, and I don't know if Mayor Finan has had a visit, but he's out doing it, so if you haven't seen him, he's coming. I have an issue for you about training, because I understand that just in Rantoul we're going to hire about 60 people to do their surveys in Rantoul. And
The census surveys?
yes. So the training issues of that, is that going to be coordinated with the RPC and everything brought through you folks? And what about two questions. Turnover from that, because some people will get into this, they will not like doing it, and then I'm going to come up short of people. Have they anticipated the turnover?
Well, my understanding is that the census for Champaign County needs over 1,500 people. The good thing is that the hourly rate for Champaign County is higher than in any other county. They are paying $15.50 an hour to those employees. Regarding training, they contacted the county about 3 weeks ago. The U.S. Census Bureau contacted the county about 3 weeks ago. And the county, Champaign County staff directed them to contact me. They contacted me to secure space for training 25 people beginning on August 18 for 2 weeks. I was able to secure, talking to Jeff Blue, the conference room at the Highway Department, and came July 18, nobody showed up. And they didn't tell me anything. I contacted them, and they told me that they had decided to cancel the training, but they didn't notify me. That's the status of the census. And they requested to secure the room only for 2 Tuesdays, the 19th and the following Tuesday. And we did that, and then the following day in the morning, they called me and decided, no, we decided to cancel all the trainings. Then I don't know how the training is going to be provided, and I offered to help them finding locations for them to provide the training, and I said it would be great if you're hiring people in Rantoul to have the training in Rantoul, if you're hiring people from Mahomet to have the training in Mahomet, instead of having the training locally here because of transportation problems. But I haven't heard back from them. But I'm supposed to be the contact person for them to set up the trainings and all that, and I'll keep you posted if.
Yeah, needless to say, we have some obstacles in front of us. Yeah, that's for sure, yes.
So is it up to individual communities to recruit census workers, or how is that supposed to work?
What I did, and I provided that information to them, was I contacted Toriana at the Workforce Development Office, and she's already in contact with the census. She's already working with the census, recruiting people to be hired here. I don't know if there is any other way that we can do it, but from that, I learned also that they have received applications from over 100 people, and close to 150, and of the 150 that have applied, once they did the background check and all that, they could only hire about 90 to 100. Then there are a lot of restrictions about the hiring of these people. But I don't know at the local level if you can do anything about it. I can find out.
Okay, I think it'd be worth looking into.
Were you asking, does the individual community have to hire those people, or is that a census function?
Well, it's my understanding the census hires them, but do we need to be recruiting?
Oh, okay.
We can encourage them to apply
Yes.
online, but it's kind of a,
It's not an easy application.
Yeah, it is
Right.
not an easy application.
That's right.
We had our meeting with him, probably the same gentleman that came to your office. And it's my understanding that, yes, I think it would be a good idea if you could recruit them locally, just because we were talking about, well, I know in our community especially that you might have a better response from your community if it's local people that they somewhat may be familiar with. I know it'll be a little different in Champaign-Urbana or your larger communities, but that was my understanding from our meeting the other day. So I plan on trying to recruit as many locals as I can, just to get a good count. So.
That would be great, yeah, yeah. The difficulty is, in order for them to apply, they have to go online, and the online application is not easy. And I don't know if they are doing the interviews here or they are doing the interviews in Chicago. Yeah, I don't know about it yet, and he couldn't respond to that question.
What percentage out of those 90 are bilingual?
I don't know. And the person who was here is not part of the hiring process. He's here just representing the area of hard-to-count population. Then I'll have to talk to the people who are on the recruiting and all that and hiring.
Okay.
What efforts are going into the electronic application? Because I heard that there was going to be a lot of savings instead of hiring and training and sending people door to door, that they were going to do it online and offer an online format, so it'll be a lot easier and easier to calculate as well.
Yeah, the concern that I have, the census this year will be an online questionnaire where families or the head of the family will have to respond to that questionnaire. If you don't respond to that questionnaire by April 1st, they will send you a paper questionnaire a week or 2 weeks later after April 1st, which is Census Day. Then if you don't respond to the paper questionnaire that they send you after April 1st, then there will be people knocking at your door asking you to fill out the questionnaire and helping you to fill out the questionnaire. My biggest concern is that there is a large number of the population here that don't have access to computers, or they don't have the language abilities, because everybody knows that we have a large proportion of people from Guatemala living here. They don't know how to read and write in Spanish or English. I don't think that the census application will be available in their dialect. Then that will be a population that will be really difficult to count because they will not be able to respond to the questionnaire. And the same with a large amount of the Latino population. They don't know how to read and write, then how they would be able to answer to the questionnaire, and even it would be even more difficult if you don't have access to a computer. Then that's what we are facing, and that's why RPC is putting a lot of effort into the census. Even if we don't receive the funding that we'll be applying for, our intention is to reach out as much as we can to the hard-to-count population, and that's why we created the Complete Count Committee, and we have representation from several different agencies in the community to start reaching out.
Again, we had asked about using the libraries, because they do have, a lot of computer terminals there, but the challenge is the person physically has to do it. Someone can't he's sitting next to you and doing it for you.
Exactly.
So that's the big
That's a challenge. That's a big challenge. Because no one else can fill out the questionnaire for you. No one.
Well, needless to say, we got a lot of work to do in this area. I'm sure you'll get
Yes.
back to us and help us, guide us through
Yeah,
this.
and what I told the census is because we are at this time working with Rantoul heavily on doing the Safe Route to School plans and the Rantoul transportation plan. Then we have been at all the schools in Rantoul last May and June. Then my hope is that through that we can reach out to the Latino population there.
Yes. As well. Any other comments? I'd like to ask for a motion to accept and place on file the division updates of fiscal. I'm going to leave out human resources because there was no report. Community services and planning and community development. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? You want to take one of those as a second? All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Thank you, Board. That was a good, healthy discussion. Thank you. Our report from our CEO, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will be brief. I think as you've heard from all the reports presented to you today, we have been extremely busy these last few months. As you know, with growth comes a lot of, I won't say headaches, but we've, Rita's looking at me. Stress. But a lot of planning and rethinking, making sure that the structure that we have here at RPC is responsive to the growth that we have been experiencing. And so there's been a lot of work put into that. The other thing that I also wanted to highlight is, as you know, in this market, it is kind of tough to recruit staff, particularly staff for some of our technical positions that we have, as well as some of the positions that Brandis Division has. And so the reason why our human resources director is not here today is we are in the thickness of recruiting staff so that we can make sure that our programs are being delivered on time. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think right now we are looking at about over 50 vacancies. 53 positions that we need to fill. So we are doing all kinds of recruitment strategies to ensure that we're able to get the right people in place. The other thing I wanted to just quickly highlight, we had a sort of a program audit regarding our Snap to Success initiative, which is a partnership that we have with Carl, and it's funding that we receive from the Department of Human Services. We are one of, I believe, 4 communities that was selected to do this pilot. One of the things we are going to be exploring is to do a partnership with Ameren. We've had a very successful partnership with them, and due to the fact that the energy efficiency sector is a growing sector, I think nationally it's about a $7 billion sector, we're wanting to see if Ameren will be interested in partnering with us to do a workforce development initiative, particularly targeting individuals that are on SNAP. So once we have that figured out, we will bring that back to you, and hopefully that will be something that will be one of our other programs that we'll have here at RPC. With that said, I have no further reports. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Is there any old business? Okay. Any new business? Okay, well, I'll extend an invitation to all of you to come to the Half Century of Progress show currently being held in Rantoul. And today is a very active day up there, I can tell you that. Coming down, there was a line about 1.5 miles north of Rantoul and one about 7 miles south of Rantoul just trying to get into the facility. So today's going to be a very busy day. You might want to choose Saturday or Sunday, but you're all welcome to come up, and I would love to see you. If you can come up, let me know, and I'll make some arrangements for you. Yes.
And after you go to the Farm Progress Show, you can stop by the Urbana Sweet Corn Festival tonight starting at 5 and tomorrow starting at 11 a.m.
Very good. So it's party time, right?
It's party time.
All right. Very good. Anyone else?
Yeah, and if you're in Champaign and live in Champaign, This is the last Friday for First Fridays, which is concerts on downtown Champaign. I believe they have 6 locations. And one, yours truly will be playing on one, which will be Hill and Neil at 7 o'clock. So if you're interested in Brazilian music, Bossa Nova Samba, come on out, check us out after you visit the Corn Festival.
Yes. Well, I'll be down there and watch you. All right, very good. I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.